I know you belong to some.
Hey, look, it's Cassie.
Hey, look,
Hello, Cassie. I'm getting you on tape, okay? Say hi, please.
Hi.
Okay, see ya. Just killed Cassie. We just left her house. This is not a fucking joke.
I'm shaking.
I stabbed her in the throat and I saw her lifeless body just disappear. Dude, I just killed Cassie. Oh, fuck. That felt like it wasn't real. I mean, it went by so fast.
Shut the fuck up. We gotta get our act straight.
It's okay. Okay, let's buy movie tickets now.
Okay.
Come on, let's go buy.
No.
Goodbye.
Alafia! My name is Oshun, and on this channel, we uncover the creepiest, most unusual haunted TikToks the internet has to offer. Do me a favor, please like, comment, and subscribe to the Soul Tribe for your weekly dose of supernatural, coming to you every Sunday, Tuesday, and Thursdays. You are my soul tribe, and the Y in tribe is for you, honey. I appreciate you being here. This is another dark one, so let's get into this video.
So that lady was playing hide and seek with her boyfriend. She claimed that she couldn't find him, but eventually she did find him the next day inside of a suitcase, but he was not alive. Sarah Boone called 911 in the morning around 9 a.m. in distress. She said, "My boyfriend is dead. My boyfriend and I were playing last night. I put him in a suitcase and we were playing like a hide and seek kind of thing. I fell asleep and I woke up and he was dead in the suitcase. So I don't know what happened." The operator began to direct her to perform CPR on him, to which she tried but suddenly stopped because he began to gurgle. Cops then arrive at her home in a matter of minutes. When cops arrived, she was panicking. She told officers the same thing that she told the dispatcher. Sarah's ex-husband was also there that day because he was supposed to drop off their son, and he had a few things to say. He mentioned that the boyfriend, Jorge, was currently on parole. It turned out that he was arrested multiple times for domestic violence on Sarah. However, Sarah literally bailed him out every time. The police then confiscated Sarah's phone and told Sarah to stay elsewhere for the night and to show up at the station the next day for further questioning. The next day came and Sarah had so many questions. One of them was when she would be able to get her phone back. However, cops were not planning on doing that just yet. They asked her a few more questions, but not before they advised her of her Miranda rights. They also mentioned that they received Jorge's autopsy, and forensics stated that he had multiple injuries that were not there prior to arriving at her apartment. She said that he's a clumsy guy and he just walked into walls. She said the whole day was great, that they had puzzles, wine, and they played hide and seek, and that they were having a very good day. She said that Jorge was just the type to walk into walls and he was a really clumsy guy. She then confessed to them that while things have been good, it hasn't always been that way. She then recalls all the times he's been violent with her and how she only drinks alcohol when he's around and how he's possessive towards her. One of the investigators then said, "When you love someone, you have limits. At one point, someone gets enough and they have to do something to defend themselves." However, she said that she would just leave the person rather than hurting them. She said that she even had proof of trying to get restraining orders. She said, "You can check my computers, you can check my phone." And speaking of phone, they said that they wanted to bring up something that they did in fact find on her phone. Sarah Boone was in for a rude awakening. The cops show her a video from her phone of her boyfriend Jorge in the suitcase, begging and pleading to get out of it. The whole time, she was laughing as he screamed in terror. He kept saying her name, Sarah, please, let me out." And on the video, you could hear her say, "That's my name, don't wear it out." And she continued to laugh. Her boyfriend continued pleading for help until his final breath. The video is out there somewhere, however, I don't advise you to watch it. After the investigators showed her that video, Sarah then ironically says, "You guys are killing me right now." She said she didn't want to see any more of that video. She then said her intention was not to leave him there. She claimed that he was just overreacting in the video when he said he couldn't breathe. And after all that he's done to her, she said that she just felt like going to bed. So she went to bed. She then said, "I don't know what else you want me to say." After another hour or so of this whole back and forth thing with her and the investigators, one of the investigators said, "You're the reason he's dead." And then they told her to stand up, and then they arrest her. Sarah was charged with second-degree murder. She had 7 attorneys. The previous attorneys all cited irreconcilable differences. Personally, I think that Sarah Boone and Jorge Torres Jr. should have separated way before something major happened. Now, I don't condone any of the things that he did to her. He is at fault for that. However, I really think that she should have left him. Who knows, he'd probably still be alive, and Sarah wouldn't be sitting in an Orange County jail cell waiting trial for second degree, which she is at the moment. If you're in a toxic relationship, it's best to just end it, or take a break, at least, until the both of you heal and get better. But until then, love yourself and break away from that.
After being missing for 9 days, the body of this 4-year-old girl was found inside of her bed. Paulette was born in Mexico to a well-off family. She had developmental issues that her family struggled with, but Paulette had 2 nannies to kind of help give her parents a break. Then in March of 2010, Paulette disappeared from her bedroom in the middle of the night. There was no evidence of anyone breaking in. The family lived in this really nice apartment building. Surveillance footage showed no one coming or going or Paulette leaving. 5 days after Paulette went missing, her mother Lizette did a very long TV interview from Paulette's bedroom on Paulette's bed, which is quite eerie and confusing considering only a few days later, Paulette's body was found in her bed, wedged between the mattress and the bed frame. This was officially ruled as an accident. The story was that Paulette had rolled in her sleep, wedging herself accidentally between the mattress and the bed frame, and she couldn't pull herself out, couldn't breathe, and unfortunately passed away. And I'm sure you're picking up on the fact that there is quite a few red flags here. Most obvious being that her mother had just done that lengthy interview from Paulette's bed. There's a camera crew, a production team in Paulette's bedroom. No one saw or smelled anything. Also, this was a huge case. Extensive searches were being done. Plenty of people were coming from in and out of her bedroom, and no one found her in the bed. Personally, I would be really concerned if my police department couldn't find a missing person that disappeared from their bed in the bed. So reportedly, during the 9 days that Paulette was missing, not only did the family members sleep in Paulette's bed at least once, but the nannies had also changed the sheets on Paulette's bed at least once. There's no way in hell that you could convince me that they pulled the sheets over the corner of the mattress and didn't see her. Tried to do a demo to show the people that were questioning that this was actually possible to make the bed and not find her, but there's too many what ifs in this case for me, too many people going in and out of this room. Everything I'm gonna say from here on is complete speculation. I find it very unlikely that Paulette was in her bed the complete 9 days that she was missing. It's been theorized that Paulette's mother, Lizette, was frustrated with Paulette's disability and possibly snapped. I also want to point out that one of the lead investigators on this case originally did suspect Paulette's mother, Lizette, but then out of nowhere changed his mind, said case closed, it was an accident, and stopped answering any questions about the case. Was this a police cover-up? Did Lizette, who was wealthy, pay them off? I'm really interested to see all your guys' thoughts, theories, and questions when it comes to this case. I swear you guys are always coming up with connections and theories that I would never put together in my brain. Please keep dropping your case suggestions in the comments. Remember, I'm going to be batch filming a lot of videos over the next couple days because I'm going to be in Paris in less than a week, so I need a lot of videos so I can post while I'm still there.
Me and my boyfriend murdered my father and recorded ourselves bragging about it. My name is Sierra Halseth. I was a 16-year-old girl who lived with my mother and father in Salt Lake City. I had a loving relationship with my boyfriend, Aaron Guerrero. However, my parents didn't approve of our relationship, which led me to do something unthinkable. Me and my boyfriend planned to murder my father over him not accepting us. On April 9th, 2021, me and my boyfriend went to my father's house and murdered him by stabbing him 70 times and set his house on fire. We took his debit card and car and fled the scene, but we were caught by police 4 days later. I was arrested and sentenced to life in prison with the possibility of parole in 20 years. Should I have a chance of getting out of prison, let me know in the comments.
Child, put her and her big ass head boyfriend under the jail. Like, you killed your father because he didn't accept your boyfriend? Now your whole life is ruined. What was the point? Put him under the jail. But anyway, who plays hide and seek inside of a suitcase? Her whole story didn't make sense. And if it really was a DV situation, she should have had a paper trail. Trust me, I know. So I want to say put her under the jail too, but if it was self-defense, that's a wild way to defend yourself. She got tired of it and said he gotta go. No, but seriously, that's crazy. She got issues. Anyway, the baby body being found in between the mattress and the bed frame is freaking barnacles. Because what the fuck? Like, how is that possible? How people coming in and out, bed being changed. The interview was done on the bed. That's sick. That's sick. That's really diabolical. Like, how did nobody smell anything? How did nobody see anything? How tiny was her body that she couldn't get out from in between the bed and that it suffocated her? Like, I have a lot of questions. That's really, really, really sad. Put the mama under the jail. She gotta go. Okay? Next video.
A half an hour before the attack. You can see the timestamp in the upper left-hand corner. She walks herself around with a wheelchair. She comes into the lobby. There is no audio here. This was given to us by the police station. She is telling police that when she was arrested last Thursday, they took some of her cash. They ask her for an ID. They look at her ID. They say, no, we don't have your cash. And she calmly leaves. She doesn't cause a scene. She's only in the police station for all of about 3 or 4 minutes. You can see her now leave with her wheelchair. And it's about here that she makes a decision. She ditches the wheelchair. You can see her hopping, skipping down the stairs at the police station. And it is from here that she walks herself across the street to the shopping complex.
Watch her right hand. That is the knife that she used to stab, according to police, that 3-year-old boy. Now you will see that knife again in the video I'm going to show you shortly. All right, the right-hand side here, keep watching. This is where you're going to see, there, that is the knife. You see the tag on there as well? Again, just moments after that was taken from the volunteers when they were at the thrift store in that same
So what? Okay.
This is Chelsea Shipp, a TikToker charged with murdering a 16-year-old girl. I have to say allegedly throughout this TikTok because there's been no full verdict yet, but let's examine the story. So before the story came out, Chelsea Shipp was a normal mom posting videos on TikTok sharing her life with the world. And from the outside looking in, she looked like your average Texan girl. She often posted videos with her daughter like this one.
No, you're supposed to have one boyfriend.
I have 2.
You're supposed to have one boyfriend.
I got 2 boyfriends.
And it should be noted that Chelsea's account is still on TikTok. I don't know how they're letting an alleged murderer still have a TikTok account, but yeah, it is still there. So at one point in her life, Chelsea started dating this man, Cody Arnold. And at one point in their relationship, Chelsea found out that Cody had been dating an underage girl. This girl was 16 years old and Chelsea was seemingly fine with it, which is a disturbing twist in its own. But at one point, Cody came to Chelsea and said, I think that Caitlin, the 16-year-old girl that I'm dating, is pregnant. This is Caitlin right here. She was only 16 years old when she died. And before her death, Cody had been grooming and essaying her a lot. So after finding out that her boyfriend's 16-year-old girlfriend might be pregnant, Chelsea decided she's not going to let that happen. She feared that if people found out about this, Cody could get in major trouble. Obviously, he would have. So on March 26, 2022, when Chelsea, Caitlin, and Cody were all hanging out in the same mobile home,
Chelsea decided to take matters into her own hands. She grabbed a gun from the house. She walked right up to the 16-year-old and shot her point blank, killing her immediately. So at that point, Chelsea tried to hide the body. She contacted a friend, asked if she could use their car to do some things, and then she admitted to a friend that she had killed the girl. Now, one of that friend's family members was actually a police officer, so she immediately contacted the family member. They went and searched Chelsea and Cody's trailer home, and they found the body of 16-year-old Caitlin and a bullet casing right next to her on the bed. Chelsea tried to make a run for it, and she was arrested over 200 miles away in Liberty Hill, Texas. But these two are now awaiting their trial. I am really excited to see them go away, hopefully for a very, very long time. This is a disturbing crime. And it goes to show that even the friendliest, most smiley people on TikTok can hide some of the darkest secrets imaginable.
What this woman did still leaves locals speechless 65 years later. In the small town of Goobersville, Indiana, in the year 1957, a chilling incident unfolded. Karen Noodleman, a 16-year-old girl with a haunting past, resided in an insane asylum. Known for causing the tragic loss of her family members, she was deemed dangerous after a lobotomy gone wrong when she was just 13. One eerie night, during the routine morning roll count, Karen was nowhere to be found in her cell. Panic ensued as the asylum doctors discovered a hidden hole behind her Marilyn Monroe poster. The entire facility went on high alert, and the police were immediately notified. Concern for the safety of Karen's remaining family members grew, particularly her younger brother, who was living with their grandparents. Multiple attempts to reach out to her grandparents went unanswered, deepening the sense of unease among the asylum staff and law enforcement. With a sense of urgency, the authorities rushed to Karen's grandparents' home. They pounded on the front door, yelling, "Police!" Uncertain of what they would find inside, someone finally opened the door, but it wasn't who they expected.
So this photo is the reason you shouldn't put your feet up on the dashboard of a car. In 2007, Granny Keeley had an airbag deploy on her at 120 miles an hour. She was sitting passenger with her feet up on the dash, and when the airbag went off, her knees went right into her skull. Obviously, this led to a brain injury. Her 2 front teeth also fell out, but she lived, thankfully. She lived without a forehead for about 2 years until surgeons fitted a ceramic forehead into her skull. She had near constant headaches, and she developed gallstones because of the medication she was on. After they fitted a ceramic plate into her forehead, they injected fat from her stomach into it so it could look more natural. This is her today, so she looks very normal now. And of course, because she's in good spirit, she says her ceramic forehead is designer because it was made in Italy. She also spent a considerable amount of time educating people on why they shouldn't put their feet up on the dashboard. Because if you do, you could end up like this. And you might not be so lucky. So, if you get anything from this video, stop putting your feet up on the dash. Let me know what you guys think about this in the comment section below. And as always, these videos are for informational and entertainment purposes only.
Well, so much for sitting comfortably with my feet up on the dash, honey. Because I surely drive like that and sit like that in people's cars. I think I learned my lesson from her video. I won't do that no more because I love my beautiful forehead, honey. And I do not want to be walking around her looking like I got kicked by a goat. Okay? No. Hell to the no. Anyway, I don't understand, or overstand how anyone can kill their own baby. Like, how can you do such a thing to your own children? I don't even like watching people beat their kids. I've been around some women that punch their child right in the mouth, right in the nose, like a little child. Like, what is wrong with you? Put them under the jail. People who kill their babies, kill their children, harm them in any kind of way, you need to see the chair. You hear me? You need the chair. Go sit your ass down and that's what needs to happen because I don't like it. And then that beautiful 16-year-old, God rest her soul, she didn't even look 16. She looked like she was 12. And she had to deal with being molested, basically, and murdered by someone else at such a young age. It's horrible. So sick. No more TikToks for her dumbass, though. The girl that's in jail, she got where she got coming and she deserves it. Next video.
This is by far one of the scariest unsolved murders. Let's talk about it. This is Russell and Shirley Dermond. They were married for 64 years and went on to have 4 kids together. They were living in a nice house in a gated community on Lake Oconee in Putnam County, Georgia, and they were really enjoying their peaceful retired life. They were extremely loved by the community, but on May 6, 2014, their lives would tragically end. Russell and Shirley were last seen alive on May 1st running some errands in Eatonton, and they last spoke to their son later that same day on the phone. A few days later on May 3rd, the couple was supposed to attend a party with their neighbors for the 2014 Kentucky Derby, but they never showed up. 3 more days would pass with no word from the Dermonds, and their neighbors became so worried that they went to their house to check on them. When they arrived, they found that the front door was unlocked, so they let themselves in. Everything inside the house seemed perfectly fine, but when the neighbor entered the garage, they found Russell's decapitated body lying in a pool of blood surrounded by towels. They obviously called 911 immediately because of the horrific scene, and when police arrived, they quickly realized that Shirley was missing. Police initially thought that Shirley had been kidnapped, so a massive search was launched. But sadly, 10 days later, Shirley's decomposed body was found floating in Lake Oconee by a couple of fishermen. She had initially been weighed down by 2 30-pound concrete blocks. According to the autopsy, Shirley died from 2 or 3 deep wounds to the head from a blunt object. Authorities initially believed that the murder stemmed from a robbery, but there were no signs of a break-in and nothing was taken from their home. Hundreds of tips and leads started pouring in, but to this day, the case remains unsolved. And the most horrifying part is that Russell's head has never been found. According to reports, gunshot residue was found on his collar, leading authorities to believe that he was decapitated after being shot in the head in order to stop police from finding the bullet. Over the years, people have speculated that the Dermonds' deaths were related to their oldest son, Mark. Mark was killed in Atlanta in 2000 during a drug dispute, but police strongly believe that there is no connection. What makes this case so confusing is that there's still so many unanswered questions. Police still don't know whether or not the killer entered through the front gate of the community or if they had access to the back of the house by boat, but they do believe that multiple people were involved. Police also believe that the towels surrounding Russell's decapitated body were placed there to stop his blood from seeping out underneath the garage door. And as far as the concrete blocks tied to Shirley's body, investigators said that a professional would know that that wouldn't work. So the question remains on who would do this and why. According to police, new DNA evidence and cell phone data was discovered last year that they are hoping will lead to the people responsible, but they don't know if it's enough DNA evidence to be run through CODIS or if it even belongs to the killer. At this point, it could still just belong to Russell and Shirley. Investigators are using new technology to analyze the recent cell phone data found that wasn't existent in 2014, so they remain hopeful. But it's now been 10 years, and whoever killed Russell and Shirley and took his head is still out there.
A 16-year-old girl rescued her baby brothers from their sadistic, abusive aunt. Trigger warning. The 3 kids have been living with their aunt, Sarah Canez, after their mother tragically passed away. In the early morning hours of June 17th, 3 kids, aged 16, 10, and 7, escaped from their aunt's apartment and ran to a neighbor's door. The 16-year-old girl was screaming, pleading for help, and she had a pair of scissors in her hand. She rushed into the neighbor's house really scared and asked for help. The neighbor also noticed physical trauma on 2 of the little boys that were with her. The neighbor said to see them like that, the kids with their eyes wide open, like they were saying, please, please help us, please. And we said, you're safe, it's okay. The neighbor, a mother herself, was in shock and immediately called 911. She said, I wanted to cry because I wouldn't want to see any kids like that. One of the boys had bruises all over his body, more on his face and on the side of his face, and then he had zip ties on his hands. He could barely even walk. He was really pale and underweight. He said that he hadn't eaten for days. Each child allegedly gave police graphic descriptions of the physical abuse, including being struck with a gun, shot with a taser, tased in their private parts with a stun gun. They were choked, beaten, nearly suffocated with plastic bags, and some details are just too graphic to say. They've also accused their Aunt Sarah of violating and essaying them, and that there were other children in that apartment who were still being restrained. The oldest victim, who was 16, said that their Aunt Sarah was accusing the other 2 victims of inappropriately touching her own daughters, but this victim said that never happened. And we see this a lot in these cases. The abuser will make up false allegations just to make themselves feel better about abusing the children even more. The 16-year-old girl told the neighbors it was her mom's voice that encouraged her to escape and save her brothers. The neighbor said she said that she dreamed of her mom telling her to save her brothers and to run here, and that we were going to help her and we were going to save them. That is going to make me cry. The victim's father said he had planned to pick up his own kids and give Sarah money to help out with all the child care after receiving his paycheck on Thursday. but he'd been trying to call them all week just to see how they're doing and see if they're ready to come home, but he got no answer. So he became very concerned. He said when he asked the police where his kids were, they said that CPS had already taken them into custody and now he wants to be reunited with them. Okay, so where the hell were you? Why didn't you call 911 and had the police do a welfare check on your kids? You could have gotten them out a lot sooner. So after the police got a search warrant, they searched Sarah's apartment and found a handgun, tasers, zip ties, a knife, plastic bags, wooden objects, everything the kids told the police that Sarah had used to abuse them. So Sarah is now facing 12 counts of child abuse, 5 counts of aggravated assault, and 2 counts of kidnapping. She's being held on a $250,000 cash-only bond. Another relative was found later that day and taken into custody along with 5 other children. It was unclear how she was connected to this case with those 5 children, but they were all in custody. When the police questioned Sarah, she said that she just couldn't take care of the kids anymore and couldn't deal with it. Okay, so you call CPS, you call the police, you call a friend. You have options here.
This woman became so obsessed with true crime that she brutally murdered someone just out of curiosity. This story needs a massive trigger warning as this photo is not what it seems. This is Young Yu Young, a 23-year-old woman described as a recluse who lived with her grandfather in South Korea. Young became so obsessed with true crime TV shows and books that she spent months plotting the murder of a stranger. She finally settled on a victim who was 26 years old and whose name has never been publicly released after contacting 54 other women on a tutoring app. She posed as a mother who was looking for someone to teach her daughter English, and she would message each tutor to see if they taught lessons alone and out of their own home. After contacting 54 other women, she finally found her victim, who did in fact live alone and agreed to help her daughter. So she set up a date in May of this year and arrived to the victim's home in Busan posing as a young student dressed in a school uniform. And when the victim let her in, she proceeded to stab her over 100 times, most of which occurred after the victim was already dead. Young then went to the store to purchase garbage bags and bleach, and then she returned back to the home where she dismembered the victim. She even cut off her fingers in an attempt to delay identification. Young then stuffed the body parts into suitcases, changed into the victim's clothes, and was seen on CCTV going in and out of the victim's home multiple times with the bloodstained suitcase. She then called a taxi who took her to the Nakdong River where she dumped some of the remains in a secluded park. In an attempt to make it look like the woman just disappeared, Young also kept her phone, ID, and wallet, and she thought she committed the perfect crime, but she was very wrong. On top of being caught on CCTV leaving the victim's home, Young was also acting very strange in the taxi drive to the river, and the driver even saw the bloodstained suitcase. So they were the one to actually call police and report what they saw, and upon investigating, police discovered a gruesome scene. Many of the woman's body parts were found at the park, but some were also found at Young's home. Authorities also found that her search history consisted of looking up how to kill someone for months leading up to the murder, and she even rented books from the library on how to get rid of a body. Young was soon arrested, but her story changed multiple times. She first told police that she only moved the woman's body after someone else killed her, and then she told them that she actually killed the tutor during an argument. But she ultimately told the police that she murdered the woman out of pure curiosity and just to see what it was like after becoming obsessed with true crime TV shows and books. Young was charged with murder, desecration, and abandonment of a corpse, and prosecutors were originally wanting the death penalty because of how gruesome the crime was. Young pleaded for a more lenient sentence because she said she suffered from hallucinations and other mental health disorders at the time of the murder, but the judge ultimately ruled the murder was very premeditated and carefully planned, and instead she was sentenced to life in prison. In addition to that, she's also ordered to wear a tracking device for 30 years after. This kind of confused me, but from what I can find, those sentenced to life in prison in South Korea become eligible for parole after just 20 years behind bars. So I guess it's a real possibility for Young to be released early.
First of all, before I get started, I want to say, working on my lighting, so let me know how it looks. Secondly, if you think I'm too loud, you don't have to be on my channel. There's plenty other reaction people to go check out. Or you can go to TikTok and find videos yourself and not listen to me. If you think I talk too much, you don't have to listen to me. You can go to another channel, or you can fast forward and just, skip my commentary because I'm going to talk. This is my channel. This is Oshun 888 Amare. Welcome to the Soul Tribe. You don't have to be a part of it. Please exit stage left. Thank you. Anyway, RIP to Russell and Sherry. That was a very sad, horrific story. Like, oh my goodness. May they rest in peace. Prayers to their family, because that was not that long ago. So hopefully no one who knows them is seeing this to bring up any memories. I apologize, but that's really sad. And then the fact that the auntie can treat her nieces and nephews the way that she did, even after they lost their mother, and you take them in to cater to them, supposed to cater to them and treat them how they're supposed to be treated, but instead you do the complete opposite and essay them along with other horrific things. Put her ass under the jail, send her to the chair, send her soul to hell. Like, that's truly pessimistic. That's disgusting. She is a horrible, horrible person. Okay. And then unaliving someone because you're obsessed with true crime. That's diabolical. Dressing like a child to go kill or to unalive an actual child. Honey, what is going on? Like, make it make sense. Your dumbass got everything you deserve. Put her under the jail. She don't need no parole. She should not be getting out. None of that. Next video.
The man you saw in that video, Richard Ragland, went on to drown that day. And this GoPro footage actually captured his final moments of life. Before his death, Richard actually served in the National Guard. Everybody remembered him as having the biggest heart and being a very smart guy. However, on June 4th, 2017, a freak accident would cause Richard to drown in the water he was swimming in Georgia. To this day, nobody knows exactly what killed Richard or what forced him under the water, but his friends that were with him that day stated that he went under the water. They tried to help him, but there was no way they could get him back up to the surface. So after his death, Richard's family mourned their loss. But it wasn't until years later when a diver actually recovered that GoPro sitting at the bottom of that water. The diver's name was Rich Abernathy. He has a YouTube channel where he goes into bodies of water and dives. And he was diving in that same water in Tennessee when he came across a GoPro. And when he looked at the contents of that GoPro, the connection was made that this was Richard Ragland, the man who had drowned there only a few years prior. I'm going to play you a little bit more of that video. It is just some really haunting stuff.
Being with brothers and sisters, we live in life. We live in life. We live in life. See, the thing is, one common goal that we all share is the same goal.
If you want to hear more true crime stories, listen to the podcast Murder in America that I co-host with my wife, Courtney. It's available on all streaming platforms. So this is John Tay Collier and Eric Dodds, a TikTok couple who amassed over 800,000 followers before they were arrested for murder charges. So before their arrest, John Tay and Eric made dancing videos, relationship videos, and their account was taking off pretty quickly here on TikTok. I mean, even a quick glance at their account right now shows that they have videos with millions and millions of views. Yes, their account is still online. But on August 1st, 2022, local authorities responded to a report of shots fired in Rossville, Georgia. When authorities responded, they found Dakota Bradshaw shot to death inside of his own home. So there were actually 4 suspects in this murder, but recently these 2 were sentenced to lengthy prison terms. And I couldn't really find information on what the alleged motive would have been behind this murder, but their vehicles that they featured prominently in their TikTok videos were seen by multiple witnesses in the area of the crime right when it happened. You see, Dakota Bradshaw had been sitting near his window at his house when people shot through the window, killing him. And allegedly, the suspects were parked in Dakota's driveway and fled in a red pickup truck, a truck that belonged to these guys. Now, interestingly enough, Eric and John Tay's TikTok account is still actively posting, and they are posting tons of content about how these 2 are allegedly innocent. But the legal system didn't see it that way. You see, in June of this year, Eric Dodds was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole, and John Tay Kavon Collier was found guilty of the murder charges, and he was sentenced to life in prison with the possibility of parole. Now, I'm eager to find out more details behind this case, like why this happened, who exactly pulled the trigger. There's a lot of mystery surrounding this story, but I'll keep you guys updated if I find anything else out. This woman created such disturbing videos that she was sentenced to 50 years in prison. This story is truly one of the worst things that I've ever covered here on TikTok, so if you have a weak stomach or you can't hear about animal cruelty, please keep scrolling. So this is Ashley Richards from Houston, Texas. In 2015, she pleaded guilty to 4 counts of producing and 1 count of distributing these disturbing videos. And once again, I'm going to warn you, you can keep scrolling at any time before we get into these details. So this all started in 2012 when PETA, or the group known as People for the Ethical Treatment of Animals, contacted the Houston police about a video they had found online. This film was titled Ebony Kill Cat, and it depicted extremely sadistic and cruel acts being forced upon a kitten. So the police got into contact with the people from PETA, and they then sent them 20 additional videos. These videos depicted the sadistic torture of various animals, including kittens, a fish, pigeon, crayfish, mice, a rabbit, all being tortured with different things like high heels, knives, screwdrivers, and pliers. In the videos, the woman that appeared in them was wearing a Mardi Gras style mask, and she would talk suggestively to the people watching this torture. Yes, that meant that there were paying customers out there that were paying this woman to produce these absolutely horrific videos. I cannot share the details of some of these videos. You can actually find the information online through news articles, but I mean, I think I changed as a person after reading these articles. Eventually, though, the police were able to track Ashley's IP address, which led them to her suburban home in Houston. This is an example of one of the messages she shared with the client. I mean, just, ugh. That led them to Brent Justice and Ashley Richards. These were the 2 that were producing these videos and selling them on a website online. And Congress had recently passed a bill making this specific type of video material, otherwise known as crush, illegal. So thankfully they were arrested. Shockingly though, Brent Justice, after the trial, he was actually sentenced to 50 years in prison. Shockingly though, Ashley, the woman who actually carried out these acts on camera, was only sentenced to 10 years in prison. Now, personally, this is one of the most disturbing things I've ever read about, and I definitely think she should have been in prison for a lot longer, but that's the justice system.
Yeah. First of all, she's unaliving animals for her own sadistic satisfaction, and that's disgusting. Like, put her ass under the jail. Put him up under the jail. She got 10 years. He got 50 years. They both should have got 50 plus years because that's diabolical. Disgusting. I freaking love animals, like all animals. I don't even kill bugs if I don't have to. Like, I'm terrified of spiders, honey. And that little motherfreaker can go live in a corner somewhere because I know he's killing other bugs. I'm not touching them. Like, no. I have a pet snake. People think I'm weird for that. That's another story. Anyway, RIP to Richard. He drowned and he's a Marine. That makes absolutely no sense at all. Very sad. RIP to him, RIP to his family, or prayers to his family. And then the couple, the little boys, well, the grown men, TikTokers, they were cute. They were really cute. And they were a couple. Interesting. But that's neither here or there. Put their ass up under the jail too. Why are you shooting in people's houses? Like, RIP to Dakota, because that's really sad. Prayers to his family as well. Not good at all. But next video.
This house holds one of the strangest true crime cases you'll ever hear. Over 60 years ago, a man named Dr. Harold Perelson lived here with his wife and children. One early morning in December 1959, the doctor snapped. He killed his wife in her sleep using a hammer, then went to his daughter's bedroom. He tried to kill his oldest daughter the same way, but missed. She fled the house. He overdosed, taking his own life and leaving his 3 children with no parents. To this day, nobody knows what drove a seemingly successful doctor to do this.
This 19-year-old TikToker was murdered while filming a TikTok video. This is 19-year-old Anaya Womack, a woman from Jacksonville, Florida. Anaya was really active on her TikTok and her Instagram, and she really wanted to grow her following. In May of 2023, Anaya was brought to a hospital and dropped off with a gunshot wound in her stomach. After she was dropped off and left there, she died, and 135 days later, the story finally began to unfold. So Anaya's family had fought tooth and nail for justice, for answers. They just had no idea what had happened to her. I mean, how did she end up with that gunshot wound? Who drove her to the hospital? Well, eventually Mariah J. Clayton, a 20-year-old friend of Anaya's, was arrested. So at first, Mariah and the man she was with claimed that they were driving down the street when they somehow stumbled across Anaya and decided to help her out and bring her to the hospital. But obviously the police weren't buying that, and the man eventually broke down and told the police that he had gone over to an apartment complex to purchase marijuana, and that's where he and Mariah had found Anaya with a gunshot wound. They claimed that once they got to this apartment, Anaya told them that she had shot herself and she needed a ride to the hospital. But when police started interviewing people who were present at that apartment on the night of this shooting, a whole different story began to emerge. Apparently that night, Anaya and Mariah had been in the bathroom in the apartment filming TikTok videos. And one witness stated that when they went into the bathroom, they saw Mariah holding a large black rifle, waving it around, all while Anaya was filming her for her TikTok. So at one point, this male witness said that a man entered the room. He said they needed to be careful with the rifle, they shouldn't be playing with a gun, and he tried to take it from Mariah. But Mariah allegedly said, "I need to check something first." She pulled away with the rifle in her hand and it accidentally discharged, shooting Anaya in the stomach. And what it seems like allegedly happened is that Mariah and the others that were in the apartment then clamored and tried to hide all of the evidence. And they were the ones that ended up driving Anaya to the hospital later on. But they didn't stick around to tell investigators or anybody who they were. And obviously they hadn't been truthful about what really happened that night the entire time. I'm eager to see how this case turns out, and I just hope that Anaya gets the justice that she deserves.
Man, R.I.P. Anaya. I actually remember her story because I live in Tampa and it was on the news. Very sad, very sad. And I'm not feeling Mariah's mugshot. She does not look remorseful at all. She don't look sad. She don't look like she feel bad about what she did or anything. She looked like she was trying to be cute, actually. Like, hell no. Justice for Anaya. Prayers to her family as well. And then RIP to the family that was tragically unalived by the doctor. Like, I wonder what came over him. Sound like Amityville horror situation, if you ask me. But we reached the end of this video. I know it was a heavy one, honey. It was kind of dark, honey. I get it. I know. I will put a trigger warning at the beginning of this video, or on the title, I should say, because it's going to be needed. But thank you for being here with me. I appreciate your time. I do not take it for granted whatsoever. Please like, comment, and subscribe and share if you care, honey, because it's free. Send it to your auntie, your uncle, your nieces, your nephew, your mama, your daughter, your daddy, your brother,